Welcome back to the Crypto Science Podcast. You know we love diving deep into those sources you send our way, and today it looks like we're going to be unearthing some serious knowledge about blockchain oracles, specifically Chainlink. Our listener sent over, completing the protocols, a comprehensive overview of Chainlink in 2021. And let me tell you, this thing is packed. It's a pretty dense read, but super fascinating. Really gets into how this tech wants to totally change how agreements and value exchange happen online.
Oh, yeah. Dense is right. It really digs deep into this whole concept of a system, a protocol that can be a completely trustworthy referee for agreements, like totally unbiased. The idea is to get rid of any chance of human error or bias, to make things truly fair and transparent.
Right, and building that trust and transparency is like the foundation for anything that involves agreements and moving value around. Yeah. And the source kind of sets the stage by breaking down three fundamental building blocks: blockchains, smart contracts, and oracles.
Yeah, and each one is essential, right? Like think of the blockchain as the base layer. It's this giant public ledger where everything is recorded securely and transparently. Like imagine a digital record book that anyone can see and check. So it's virtually impossible to tamper with.
Got it. So we've got this super secure foundation, the blockchain, but then we need a way to actually create agreements on top of it and automate actions, right? And that's where those smart contracts come in.
Bingo. Smart contracts are essentially self-executing agreements built right into the blockchain. They basically work on a simple if this, then that principle. So if a certain condition is met, the contract just automatically does what it's supposed to. And because it's all happening on the blockchain, it's tamper-proof, and you can always see exactly what happened.
Okay, this is already blowing my mind. But here's the thing. Blockchains are, well, they're kind of isolated, you know, living in their own digital world. So how do we get real-world information into these smart contracts? Like, how do they know about things like stock prices or the weather or even the results of an election? That's where oracles step in, right?
You got it. Oracles are the bridge between the blockchain and the real world. They bring in that outside data that the smart contracts need. Without oracles, smart contracts are basically stuck with whatever info is already on the blockchain.
Right, so enter Chainlink, which the source points to as the MVP of the Oracle space right now, this decentralized network that connects blockchains to all that real-world stuff.
And it's that decentralized nature that is so key, because it means Chainlink isn't controlled by any single entity, which adds a ton of trust. If one oracle goes down, the whole network keeps running.
It's like having a whole bunch of independent fact-checkers instead of just relying on one source, right? But how does it actually work on a technical level? What's going on under the hood?
So basically, Chainlink works through this network of nodes that are all gathering data from different sources. Each node contributes its piece of the puzzle, which makes the whole system much more robust and reliable.
Like a crowdsourced fact-checking system, basically.
Exactly.
The source also mentioned something about Deutsche Telekom, that huge telecom company, running a Chainlink node. Seems like a pretty big deal, doesn't it? Like maybe a sign that Chainlink is going mainstream.
Absolutely. It definitely adds a lot of legitimacy. When you have big players like that jumping in, it means they see the potential, right? Chainlink isn't just for crypto diehards anymore.
Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. What makes Chainlink's approach to oracles unique? Why is it different from other players in the space?
It's all about flexibility. Chainlink isn't just one giant network. It's actually like a framework where anyone can create their own specialized oracle networks tailored to whatever their needs are.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Exactly. You can have different networks for different purposes. Like say you need to track stock prices for a DeFi application. You can build an oracle network that specifically pulls that data from trusted sources.
So basically more customizability means more accuracy and reliability.
Exactly. And remember, it's decentralized, so there's no single point of failure. Even if some nodes have issues, the network keeps chugging along.
Okay, I think we've laid a pretty good foundation here. Blockchains, smart contracts, why oracles are essential, and how Chainlink is leading the charge with its focus on decentralization and flexibility.
Yep.
But let's talk about security for a second. I mean, when you're dealing with systems that handle agreements and money, security is going to be top of mind, right?
100%. And the source really dives deep into that aspect. You're right, security is absolutely paramount, and it's baked right into the core of how Chainlink works.
So what are some of the key features that make Chainlink so secure?
Well, we've already talked about decentralization, which is a big security win in itself, but it goes way beyond that. One of the main things is data signing. Every single piece of data that comes from a Chainlink oracle gets cryptographically signed.
Like a digital fingerprint, basically.
Precisely. Each piece of data gets this unique, unforgeable fingerprint, and it creates a trail right back to the node that provided it.
So if a node tries to slip in bad data, everyone knows where it came from.
And they can be held accountable.
Right. Makes sense.
Plus, there are reputation systems in place. Think of it like a trust score for each oracle. The more accurate and reliable a node is, the higher its score, and the more likely it is to get selected for jobs.
Got it. So decentralization, data signing, reputation systems,
hmm
all working together to create this really secure and trustworthy network. Anything else I'm missing?
Well, the source also mentions that Chainlink is working on privacy solutions, which is
Mhm.
really interesting. Like, imagine proving you're over 18 to a smart contract using your bank login, but the contract never actually sees any of your bank details.
Whoa, that's pretty wild. It sounds like they're really thinking about the long-term impact of this tech and how to protect privacy as things become more intertwined.
Yeah, absolutely. Privacy is going to be super important moving forward with blockchain.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground already. Blockchains, smart contracts, the importance of oracles, and how Chainlink is tackling these challenges.
It's an amazing space, constantly evolving.
Absolutely. And we've really just scratched the surface here. In part two, we're going to really get into the mind-blowing functionalities that Chainlink offers and how it's impacting different industries. It's going to be a wild ride, so buckle up.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Chainlink is opening up all these possibilities that go way beyond just like tracking crypto prices.
It really does. Like we've unlocked this whole new universe of applications. So give me an example. What kind of cool stuff can we actually do with Chainlink?
Okay, so imagine random number generation for games and lotteries. But it's powered by Chainlink. Totally eliminates any worries about rigged systems. Because the randomness would be, like, verifiably fair and tamper-proof.
That would be massive for online gaming, knowing that everything is on the level.
Right, and then think about real-world assets, like gold or real estate, being tokenized on the blockchain. So you have these digital representations of physical assets. And Chainlink can verify that those tokens are actually backed by the real thing.
So it's like a digital guarantee of authenticity. If I own a token that says it represents a piece of real estate, Chainlink can prove that it's actually tied to a specific property.
Exactly. Huge implications for property rights and fractional ownership. And it goes even further than that. Think about automating things like insurance claims based on real-world events.
Okay, so like using weather data to trigger payouts for crop insurance.
Exactly. Chainlink could provide that tamper-proof weather data directly to the insurance smart contract, and boom, the claim gets processed, no human intervention needed.
That would streamline the whole insurance industry, make it way more efficient and transparent.
Right. And the source also talks about supply chain management as another area where Chainlink is making a big impact. Like, imagine tracking goods as they move around the world and verifying their location, condition, even temperature, all in real time.
That would be incredibly valuable for things like food or medicine, where maintaining certain conditions during shipping is critical.
Absolutely. And that real-time data can trigger payments, automate customs processes, even help prevent fraud and counterfeiting. It's like a digital chain of custody for physical goods. Total transparency and accountability.
So basically, we're bringing real-world data onto the blockchain
Yeah.
to automate and secure all these different processes. The source mentions this idea of a blockchain abstraction layer. What exactly does that mean?
Okay, so think about it this way. Right now, if a regular business wants to use blockchain technology, it can be a huge pain. They have to figure out all these custom integrations, how to get the data they need onto the blockchain, all this complicated technical stuff.
So it's a big barrier to entry for a lot of companies.
Yeah, for sure. But Chainlink is trying to change that by acting as this middle layer. That makes the whole thing simpler. It basically translates real-world data and events into a language that the blockchain can understand, and vice versa.
So it's like the universal translator for the blockchain world, making it accessible to way more businesses and industries.
Exactly. It unlocks so much potential for innovation because now regular businesses can use blockchain technology without having to build everything from scratch.
Okay, so we've got all these incredible functionalities, but how does the whole network actually sustain itself? Like we talked about nodes providing all these services, but how are they incentivized to do it? What keeps the whole engine running?
That's where the LINK token comes in. It's the native cryptocurrency of the Chainlink network. And it's essential for incentivizing good behavior and keeping the whole system secure.
Okay, break that down for me. How does the LINK token actually motivate these nodes to play fair and provide accurate data?
It's a combo of rewards and penalties. Nodes get paid in Link for providing their services. The more accurate and reliable they are, the more jobs they get, and the more Link they earn.
So there's a direct financial incentive to be a good oracle.
Exactly. But there's also that accountability piece. Nodes can stake LNK as collateral, and they risk losing it if they mess up or provide bad data.
So it's like putting your money where your mouth is.
Right. You got to have skin in the game. And that discourages any funny business. Because there are real consequences if they don't act right.
So it's like this self-regulating ecosystem.
Yeah.
Where the Link token ensures the integrity and reliability of the network.
Exactly. And as more people use Chainlink, developers, businesses, whoever, the demand for Link goes up, which strengthens the network even more.
Okay, that's really smart. So we've talked about the potential of Chainlink, how the network works, but now I want to get into some specifics. What are some real-world examples of companies using Chainlink today?
All right, let's dive into that. Get ready for some real-world examples that show how Chainlink is already transforming industries. Well, the source really highlights DeFi as a prime example. Decentralized finance. That whole sector is just exploding right now, and Chainlink is playing a big part in making it all work. Remember those price feeds we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
They're super important for a lot of these DeFi applications, making sure they have accurate and reliable pricing data for lending and borrowing, trading, all that stuff.
So like when I'm using a DeFi platform to, say, borrow against my crypto, Chainlink is working in the background to make sure the value of my collateral is being calculated correctly.
Exactly. It helps protect both sides, the lender and the borrower, from things like unfair liquidations or losses due to bad pricing data. It's all about creating a more stable and trustworthy financial system.
Makes sense. So beyond DeFi, what other industries are starting to use Chainlink?
Well, the source mentions insurance as a really interesting example. Specifically, these things called parametric insurance policies that automatically pay out based on real-world events, like using weather data, for example.
Oh, I see. That would be huge for industries that are super dependent on weather, like agriculture.
Right. Chainlink could provide that weather data directly to the smart contract for the insurance policy and trigger the payout automatically.
So no more arguing with insurance companies over claims. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it could really streamline the whole process, make it a lot more efficient and transparent.
I like it. What else? Any other cool use cases?
The source also talks about supply chain management again, which we touched on earlier.
Yeah, using Chainlink to track goods and verify their condition.
Right, all that stuff. And because you have that real-time data, you can use it to automate payments, speed up customs processes, even help prevent fraud and counterfeiting.
It's like having a digital fingerprint for every product, knowing exactly where it's been and what condition it's in.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of transparency and accountability could really transform global trade.
Big time. Okay, so we've got DeFi, insurance, supply chains, all being impacted by Chainlink in some pretty major ways.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg, really. The source mentions a ton of other potential applications, from gaming to real estate to even things like decentralized identity systems.
Decentralized identity, what's that?
It's still early days, but the idea is you control your own digital identity, and you can choose what information to share with different platforms. Without compromising your privacy, Chainlink could be a key part of making that happen.
So it's all about giving people more control over their data.
Yep, exactly. And as this tech keeps developing, I think we're going to see a lot of new applications that we can't even imagine right now.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, this whole idea of connecting different industries and systems in a way that was never possible before.
It really is. And at the core of it all is this idea of trust. Chainlink is building the foundation for a more trustworthy digital world, where agreements can be automated, data can be verified, and value can be exchanged seamlessly.
I'm definitely excited to see where it all goes.
You too.
Well, this has been an awesome deep dive into the world of Chainlink. We went from the basics of blockchains and smart contracts all the way to real-world implementations.
Yeah, we covered a lot of ground.
We did. And as always, be sure to check out the show notes for links to all the resources we mentioned. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.